Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Seen Beyond and Through with Monty. Today, we're going to explore light skin privilege among black men and try to find out if it really exists. Right before you is a video I did about 3 or 4 days ago by journalist Simone Biles and her ex-boyfriend, salty ex-boyfriend, who decided to insult her by stating that he found something better. And on this video, a comment was made by a very intelligent poster who stated that he believes light-skinned, pouty lips, lighter colored eyes, certain type of hair, style, texture, gets more love. And this goes into the whole debate whether or not light skin privilege exists within the black community, or if it really exists. Let me say this. Light skin privilege does exist, particularly when it comes to dark-skinned men and lighter-skinned women. But when it comes to the men within the black community, out of the black community, I'm going to say a resounding no. And I'm going to try to illustrate to you why I believe that light skin privilege is not an advantage to men like it is to light-skinned women. Now, you're going to have to follow me very carefully because this is going to be a very controversial topic and it's going to dispel some of the notions that you have believed. I like to think out of the box and think for myself and come to my own conclusions. And I believe that I can illustrate to you that light-skin privilege does not carry the same weight among men as it does women. Let's get started. These guys are on Instagram. And this is where the intelligent poster stated that they get more love. Let me try to explain what's going on right there. Instagram is not a good barometer for the world at large. Only because the amount of likes, the amount of followers that you can get can be bought. And a lot of times, too, you must remember, even though this guy right here got about 38,000 views, you know, considering that America has over, 250 million people, that's like less than 1% of the overall U.S. population. I don't know how that's being weighed against the world at large. It shouldn't be. Because, as I stated before, number one, they can be bought. I mean, you can buy likes, you can buy followers, you can buy comments. All of that can be bought. So to me, that's not any weight towards if it's going to carry over into the world. So I don't think so. So here we go. These are groups right here. The groups right here that non-black groups. As you see right here, these are some of the top groups right here. Boys to Men, New Edition, Backstreet Boys, Belle Biv DeVoe. And I would like to know, out of these groups right here, how many of these groups right here have members that are all light-skinned? If being light-skinned was such an advantage as you get older, wouldn't these groups right here benefit from having all light-skinned members? No, the majority of these groups right here, I mean, you can go to the old Delphonics, you can go to the Spinners, you can go to the OJs, even the Jackson 5. The Jackson 5 were not light-skinned. They would have been brown at best, not light. But how many groups do you see with members that are light-skinned? Other than maybe the Silvers, but that was boys and girls right then and there, though. But above all, the majority of black singing groups, black male groups, have been like 97% dark skin, are brown dark skin. Okay, here's where I think this myth comes from about lighter skins being the men, having an advantage over darker skinned men. I believe this stems from childhood. Now, this is a yes and no, okay, answer. The yes part would be in adolescence, lighter skinned boys, particularly with the curly hair, the big afros, do have an advantage. Because anyone within the black community knows, in elementary school particularly, maybe going up to junior high school, most of the black girls there like the light-skinned guys with the curly hair. And what happens in adolescence tend to leave an indelible impression on our psyche later on in life. Some of us tends to carry that over and don't realize that what was then and what is now is now. So I'll reiterate, light-skinned is an advantage for men when you are younger. Yes, elementary school, junior high, things after that, it changes. And I'm going to get into why it changes, I believe. See, I believe that at this particular age right here, girls are not looking to be protected. With protection comes a certain type of look, a certain type of masculine quality that they are looking for, which causes a shift as you get older. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, many of our lighter-skinned brethren have an unfair rap of being soft, not as manly, not as strong, those things like that. So I think a lot of times when girls turn into women, they want someone with more, what they've been conditioned to believe is a masculine edge, who can protect them, who's more brute, who's more forceful. And that's where the darker skin comes into play. So as they start to get older, this is what women tend to like. Can you tell me one light-skinned model who is more successful than Tyson Beckford? If light skin was such an advantage, he would have been surpassed or supplanted above Tyson Beckford as the #1 model of all time. But this has a double-edged reasoning too right here, because Tyson Beckford is in an industry that is controlled and dominated by white men. And that's important that we get into that. It's extremely important. Here we have two men right here. Obviously, one is light, one is darker. Does anyone really believe that the lighter skinned one in adulthood would have an advantage over the darker skinned one? I mean, women or men would find both of them attractive. I don't believe that the lighter skin benefits you as you get older. And let me throw this out about Denzel and about acting, because we touched on Tyson Beckford in the modeling industry, about Tyson Beckford being considered the #1 male model of all time. Dark-skinned model. Now, let's get into Hollywood. Hollywood is controlled by white men. And, I don't want to say the word, but the J word. Well, I can say Jewish, right? I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's just the truth, though. So not trying to be mean, not trying to be derogatory, but white Jewish men, sometimes many of them could be gay, who knows, not a bad thing at all. But here's the thing right here. Look at Denzel Washington. He's considered the #1 black actor of all time. Let's go down the list right here. Morgan Freeman is considered #2. I guess they're going by success, movies and things like that. Samuel L. Jackson is #3. Will Smith is #4. Will Smith, I would not say is light skinned. I would have to go with the brown tone, but not dark skin, somewhere in the middle. Forrest Whitaker, I would say darkest tone. Forrest Whitaker is about my complexion, and I'm considered dark. Lawrence Fishburne is about Will Smith's complexion, maybe a little lighter. I'm on the fence about him being, I would not say light skin. I would say Jeffrey Wright or Ice-T would be considered light skin. I would place Lawrence Fishburne in that Will Smith kind of category. Eddie Smith, obviously darker. James Earl Jones, light skin. But Don Cheadle, dark skin. Chadwick Boseman, dark skin. Chadwick Boseman, by the way, as of right now, is the hottest black actor in Hollywood. If light skin was such a benefit, why isn't the hottest black actor in Hollywood a light skinned? Cuba Gooding Jr., brown skin. Terrence Howard would be light skin, I believe. Yeah. Wesley Snipes, dark skin. This is a bad picture of Michael B. Jordan. I would say that Michael B. Jordan is a shade or two darker than Will Smith, actually. This is just a, what is that? Lighting could be. Flash. Ving Rhames, darker tone. Ice Cube, brown maybe. Louis Gossett, darker tone. Kevin Hart, dark. Richard Pryor would have been brown. Chris Tucker, darker tone. Mahershala Ali, darker tone. Morris Chestnut, darker tone. Omar Epps, darker tone. See the point at which I'm trying to make? When white men are in control of things, or when they come into a white world, let me just tell you something about white people that I discovered. When white people are into black people, they tend to be into black people who are undeniably black. The ambiguous look or the mixed look does not work well for them. Whether you can call it a fetish, whether you can call it eroticism, an attraction, sexual lust, they tend to be in the blacks who are of darker tone. If light skin was such an advantage, he would be the #1 actor as opposed to Denzel Washington. I don't even think he's even on that list. And this is not the down light-skinned people. I'm making a point, and I'm trying to illustrate to you that stating that light-skin privilege among men does not exist. Here's Ice-T. Or is it Ice Cube? No, this is Ice-T, right? Yeah. Light skin. Okay, he's not even on that list. Well, he's more of a television actor, rapper. But, you know, once again, he's not considered one of the top actors, but he has light skin. See what I'm trying to say? Generally speaking, white people, even though he's with the white female, tend to like darker tones. Black people tend to like lighter tones. But there's a but with that. Here are other light-skinned actors. Are any of these top actors? Ice-T, I know who he is. I know who Sinbad is. The rest of them I'm not very familiar with. Now, back in the day, we had Debonair, Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier, dark-skinned actor. Back in the 50s, could have been 40s. Dark skin, kinky hair. One of the most successful black actors ever. Here he is with his Academy Award that he won. Great actor, by the way. Loved him in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And that speech was just amazing. Here we have Mr. Harry Belafonte. If light-skin privilege exists among men, why wasn't Mr. Harry Belafonte considered a more successful actor than dark-skinned Sidney Poitier? See, people? Back then, as it is, back in acting, it's still the same way. Because acting is controlled by white men. It is controlled by white people. Yes, you do have some directors, like producers like Tyler Perry, But Tyler Perry does not control the system. And certain thing about Tyler Perry movies, now he's a black actor. Look at the actors who he has as his leads. They tend to look more like this. The lead actors look more like Mr. Harry Belafonte. The villains look more of a darker tone. I want to show you something. You know the term BBC? The term BBC was coined by the gay white community. And the gay white community coined the terms BBC. We know what that stands for, big black cock, after a black man's anatomy. It was later picked up by other communities also. But we know what it stands for. So it's a fetishization right there. But I want to point out something to you. We know that they were not talking about these gentlemen right here, because what they have, I don't think it's a BBC. It may be BB Pink. When you're this complexion right here, it's anything but black. Now, I want to point out something to you. We're going to go into a little of the adult side right now. And this is not for children. Even though you're not going to see anything, X-rated, but we will talk about X-rated actors just to illustrate something to you. This is Lexington Steele. He's considered one of the top performing black actors in straight porn. This is Shawn Michaels. He's considered a top black straight performer in porn. Both of these two are considered like 1 and 2. I believe Shawn Michaels is number 1. Because if I can get this right, here's Shawn Michaels' auto. Shawn Michaels is the stage name of an American pornographic actor, model, director, and trade union leader. In 2002, A&V ranked him 14th on their list of the top 50 porn stars of all time. Look at him. Look at him. See their complexion? If it was such an advantage, why aren't these guys about 5 shades lighter? Why isn't there any red bones who are the top 2 black actors in straight porn? 2 black actors in straight porn are dark-skinned black men. That's because white people like black people who are undeniably black. Let's move on. Now, that was the straight side. This is the gay side. This is a gay pornographic actor by the name of Raheem Shabazz. Look at his complexion. This is not light. That is not a light-skinned complexion. Okay, Mr. Shabazz is a #1 ranking gay adult black actor. He has 550,000 Twitter followers. That's almost 500,000. He's ranked #1. I want to show you something. This guy is Mark Knox. Let me get that name right. Mark Connor. This is Mark Connor. Mark Connor is considered the #2 ranked adult gay black actor. Mark Connor has 401,000 Twitter followers. If light skin was such an advantage, why are the top 2 straight pornographic actors dark skin and the top 2 gay pornographic actors are of a darker tone? Let's go on. This is a porn site called Black. Now, Black obviously is controlled by a white owner. But I just want to show you one thing. Look at all the actors. Look at their complexion. Okay, this one to the left right here would be considered, I don't know if light, maybe lighter. Maybe light, yeah. Look at the rest of their complexions. Keep one thing in mind. The one to the top, that's probably a filter. He's darker. These are dark actors. Some of these are like the bottom left, the filter. We know this is, once again, these are darker tones. I believe that's Shawn Michaels, though, using a different name for a different company, though. I believe so, but dark actors, maybe the one to the right there could be brown tone. Okay, these are definitely dark actors. The one to the right, look at her face. It's almost like blotted out. It's such a light filter. But I want to show you their complexions. So whether it's the whole, it is. There's no doubt about it. It's the whole Mandingo thing, like in the Black Mandingo, like in the BBC, liking the whole black fantasy thing, the whole buck thing. But still in all, I'm not saying that's a good thing at all. I'm not at all saying it's a good thing. But I will say this. When white people find you attractive, though, when they find you attractive, and obviously they do find a certain type of black look attractive, whether that be through this fetish, this black fetish, or whatever, they will reward you. They will tend to hire you. They would tend to employ you. People like to be close to people who they find attractive. Apparently, what white Caucasians find attractive are the darker skin hues. So the point that I am making is that light skin privilege benefits light-skinned black men in their youth. As they get into adulthood, it does not serve as a benefit. These are more the actors from Black, I believe. Yes. The hue right there is dark. Brown skin right there, but not really, I would say, light. Once again, dark skin again. This is me. This is my complexion right here. I'm going to say that I'm more of like the darker tone. Obviously, I'm not as dark as he is, but there's different levels of darkness. He's darker than me, but I'm still of a darker tone, though. I'm more like a Denzel Washington complexion. Now, I think we would consider Denzel Washington dark. I just want to tell you something. When I was in elementary school, no, the girls didn't find me attractive. I was considered too dark. Elementary school, coming from a black neighborhood, a black community, they found the guys with the lighter skin, the big afros, to be attractive. When I got into junior high, it was still the lighter skinned guys with the big afros to be attractive. When I got into high school, things changed. All of a sudden, lo and behold, I was found attractive. In high school, college, adult years, it was busted wide open then. So, a female's mentality changes as she gets older. As she gets older, she wants to feel protected. She wants to feel like she's, I want to be very careful with the wording that I use. She like a man's man. And like I said before, not to say that light-skinned men are not that. I just do believe that they get a reputation as they get older for being soft. That's all that I'm saying. And that goes for other communities too, because I went to school and college in a white community. And one of the shocks that I got was that the same thing with black men, black boys actually. When boys were younger, it was the lighter hair colored, blonde hair, blue-eyed guys who the girls liked. But as they got older, so many, even white women with blonde hair and blue eyes, were actually into the Italian type. I was told a number of times that, I prefer dark hair, dark eyes, olive skin. So it's almost like, yeah, the same thing happened within the black community with the white community. They started liking the look that was darker. This guy right here, as an adult, first of all, let's go back as a child. I'm sure he was talked about as a child because of his complexion. As an adult, oh, you cannot tell me a lot of women would not find him attractive. If he were to go into the gay world, you cannot tell me a lot of men would not find him attractive. You cannot tell me that a light skin per se would have really anything over him in terms of like, desirability. Okay, this is the video that sparked this conversation. This is Simone Biles' ex on the right, light skin. This is her current on the left. He's more like brown skin. This is probably a filter he used, by the way. I'm going to guess he's a football player. I believe he's a shade or two darker than that. Who do you think the women would find more attractive? Now, for all of you who believe that somehow light skin privilege exists, who do you think the women would find more attractive? Who do you think men would find more attractive? If I had to guess, I'm going to say the one to the left, the darker skinned one. And speaking of light skin privilege, can anyone prove to me that with light skin, having light skin, that you can walk out of high school with just a high school education and get just as much money as what a darker skinned black male with a degree? No. A white man can. A white man out of high school with no degree can make just as much money as a black man with a degree. Not a light-skinned man over a dark-skinned black man. It doesn't exist. Can anyone tell me that a light-skinned black man can get out of a ticket based upon him being just light-skinned? No, a white can. A white man sure can. Would that prevent a light-skinned man from getting shot by the cops? No, we have seen plenty of pictures and videos of police officers not shooting white suspects, walking up to them, taking the gun out of their hand. Does light skin provide you that privilege? Can you get a better loan? Would you be considered for the job just because you have light skin with no education? Can you walk into a store being light-skinned black male and not get profiled, not be followed? No, sometimes a strange thing with white people too. It can be really weird though. If they're racist, if a white person is racist, they do not differentiate sometimes. I'm talking about a racist white person. They don't sometimes see a difference. And I'm talking about a racist among light skin or dark skins. As the old saying goes, you're all just an N-word to them. Now here's Drake and Morris Chestnut. Drake is biracial, light skin. Morris Chestnut is dark skin. As adults, who do you think women would find more attractive? And by the way, Morris Chestnut is like 25 years older than Drake. But even at this age right here, who do you think women would find more attractive? I'm going to say this much. I'm going to guess, to be honest with you, that teenage girls would find Drake more attractive, but women would find Morris Chestnut more attractive. If Morris Chestnut were going to the white community, white women would find Morris Chestnut more attractive. White gay men would find Morris Chestnut more attractive. Gay black men would find Morris Chestnut more attractive. Let me explain to you why. Because within the gay community, there is like, is it a 4 or 5 to 1 ratio, tops versus bottoms? The majority are like, let's just go with 4 to 1, 4 to 1, 4 bottoms, 1 top. People would prefer to be in a less dominant position or a more passive position by someone who's masculine. Now, again, it goes back to that stereotype that a lot of light-skinned men, unfortunately, have gotten of being softer, of being not as hard, of being not as masculine. The whole Mandingo thing comes into play, even I think among some black men too. But that's what it would go into that. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that, but it is what it is. It goes back to that I do not believe that light skin privilege exists among grown adult men. It does exist among women, yes, women, but not among men. Because too many black women would find the Morris Chestnut look just as attractive as Drake's, if not even more. So therefore, dark-skinned black male right here would have just as much privilege, advantage, just as much looks given his way, admiration, opportunities as any light-skinned male. And that was another edition of Seen Beyond and Through. And there will be a follow-up to this where I will touch on the women. So be sure and stay tuned for that. But I will see you the next time.